Scotland is one of the most beautiful places in the world to visit, and many people spend years saving up money just to be able to experience it firsthand, which is why we thought it might be helpful to gather together a list of the top 12 things to do in Scotland. Because when you finally get the chance to go, you want to at least know what to do while you're there. Let's get into it. Boat over to the Shetland Islands. If you're the kind of person that wants to become as close to a Viking as humanly possible, you absolutely must explore the Shetland Islands, which host the Uphelly AA Viking Festival annually with fire, painted warriors, and so much more. The Isles require a boat just to get from the mainland, or a plane if you're feeling a bit more contemporary, and are an absolute delight to visit if not just for the beauty of it all, with the stone holding up old and historic buildings above the greenish-blue water. Truly a sight to behold. Search for the Loch Ness Monster. Are you in the mood to hunt monsters instead of cosplay as a Viking? Then Loch Ness will definitely be a must-see location for you. Besides the call of the elusive beast, there is also a historical castle to visit about 20 miles away, and some crazy good Scottish food, made in the traditional way and with lots of attention and care. Loch Ness may just be the most famous spot on this list, but what I'm here to tell you is that you could literally make a whole day out of the visit. The Loch Ness Monster has still not been captured, even after all these years, and countless people have tried. And so, what's keeping you from going out there and solving the mystery yourself? Balmoral. If you're the type of person who likes to roll in style, then brace yourself for the ultimate flex, visiting the Queen's royal estate, one in which she still regularly attends to this day. Do yourself a favor and study up on Balmoral before going, because it just makes it all the more interesting when you're inside and staring up at the beautiful decor. If that still isn't enough to satiate you though, hop on over across the street to Crathy Church, which is where you may see the royal family themselves worshipping when in residence. You can literally spend a day in the Queen's shoes when she arrives in Scotland, a rare and unique experience that you can't really get anywhere else. Visit the Isle of Skye. The Isle of Skye has a sense of natural beauty that just can't be properly described, and this is really one of those you gotta see it and experience it yourself kind of locations. The Isle's known mostly for its wild and rugged landscapes that makes for an incredible viewing experience as you watch the waves crash hundreds of feet below. There are also areas around it to swim, drive around, and if you do end up making the trip to see the Isle of Skye, highly recommend checking out the Three Chimneys, a restaurant that makes just the best Scottish cuisine in the region. Explore Cairngorms. As fun to say as it is to visit, the Cairngorms are a large mountain range and national park in the eastern part of Scotland. Located in the Highlands, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for the wildlife. Some beautiful and rare red deer stags call the area home. There are also people that ATV around the park, and in the winter months, some even ski it. So if you're a thrill seeker, you may find your way to this area even if you aren't a nature buff. Golf at Carnoustie. If you're an Athia Shore type of person, then maybe you should consider grabbing your golf clubs and heading to Carnoustie, a small town that is a couple of minutes outside of Dundee, a Scottish city. The location boasts great golfing amenities, sand beaches, and some pretty interesting outdoor sculptures and art. This town will wow you with the beauty and then wine and dine you with some great local eateries and events going on. This is kind of what it feels like to have a whole town become a country club. And so if you're a lounge lizard, this might be where you find yourself settling down on your trip. Visit St. Andrews. A personal favorite for many to go and visit, St. Andrews is another small town that's just bursting not only with quaint charm, but also some serious historical beauty. There are some wonderful historical buildings to experience here, but the real star of the show here is obviously the university, which will undoubtedly dominate the majority of your visit. Venture through St. Mary's Quadrangle and gaze upon the famous hawthorn, which you may think was originally planted hundreds of years ago by Queen Mary herself. This whole place is full of can't-miss material on your first trip to Scotland. Fish in Unstruther. Maybe you consider yourself something of a fisherman, then Unstruther is a must-see for you. Besides boasting one of the best fish and chips places in the entire country, Unstruther is itself a fishing village, and so experience what feels like a real-life Wes Anderson movie, as you can sit with a bag of fish and chips and experience the vibe of the town. Unstruther is only about a half an hour away from St. Andrews too, so this is an easy pick for the best location to wind down at after a long day of sightseeing. The laid-back nature of the village's citizens and the beach communities nearby make this a very peaceful place. And I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to leave. Spend the day in Falkirk. Falkirk is a pretty large place in Scotland, and it definitely has its fair share to do as well. The city has a huge and beautiful Kelpie sculpture that is just crazy to look up and see. The Falkirk Wheel is another must-see when passing through the area, as the wheel has a sort of design genius that is unique to the area. Finally, when you're tired from running around Falkirk all day and just want a nice place to eat, check out the Canada Wood Kitchen and Bar, which is some of the best food in the city for a reasonable price. If you're into architecture, check out the Dunmore Pineapple on your way out, although it does look a lot better during the day, and so maybe make your first trip stop. Go to Scotland's capital. Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland and is very welcoming to tourists. The city has tons of free things to do as a result, making this a good option that won't break the bank if you want to keep the price tag down. Capital has great food and tons of restaurants to choose from, and the nightlife in Edinburgh is both lively as well as safe. There are a lot of bars to choose from, and if you're into the historical side of things, then the city is more than happy to share its past with you, which is refreshing on my visit. If there was one word that I would use to describe Edinburgh, it would be welcoming. And if you want to be treated kindly and by people that are sensitive to travelers, this is a great place to start out. Get a hang of the art scene. If you want to really get a feel for the art scene in Scotland, you have to first start at Glasgow, a city that is essentially the heartbeat for art in the country, and where artists seem to all end up. The city itself has a lot of character as well, and is always thumping along with a real hustle and bustle. Glasgow is a great place to go if you want to explore off the beaten path a bit, and although it has its quirks, like any city, prides itself in its pace and originality. I recommend this spot to anyone that wants maybe a different perspective on Scotland and sheds a light on the present day more so than its historical side. Climb the highest mountain in the United Kingdom. That honor would go to Ben Nevis, which besides being a record-setting location, also is a beautiful place to spend an afternoon, especially on a warm, sunny day. If you're an active person and want to combine that with nature at its finest, I highly recommend you scale this mountain. But also be careful to pay attention to hiker safety guidelines as well as local guidance before deciding to just scale the mountain, as there are still risks involved, even if it isn't a mountain in the category of an Everest or something of that nature. This is a really crazy experience that I think is a must-do. And that's all for our video today. Are there any other things to do in Scotland that you think are just a must-see? Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed the video, and we sure hope you did. Leave a like as it helps us a bunch with YouTube. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this one released all the time. That's all for me, guys. See ya.